What's going on, Jeromes? It's a beautiful day. Life is good, and the NFL draft is mercifully only a couple weeks away, but the Vikings still have some room to do some wheeling and dealing, and General Manager adofo-mensah, he ain't scared about moving some pieces around, potentially moving some players, cap-wise, it makes some sense. So here are ocho trades for the Minnesota Vikings, and it's more than just the trades have been covered ad nauseum by us as well as Vikings fandom, where beyond Cousins to the Niners, or Dalvin to the Dolphins, or Za'Darius to the Ravens or whatever. Although I think it's funny, like the Eric DeCosta is trying to attract Lamar Jackson back to the Ravens by paying everyone except for him. It's kind of funny. But, again, 8 trades for the Vikings. Numero uno. Trading up to number 3 for Anthony Richardson. Woo, I said it. Or, yes, this could be C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young. I don't care either way. It is going to be expensive. It's going to take 3 ones. It would greatly benefit if the Texans win defense at number 2, which would be fantastic. But if a guy is determined to be the guy, the franchise guy, the can't miss. And I love Bryce Young. I think I'm not concerned about the height. I'm not concerned about the weight. It's going to work out. CJ Stroud is a dude, as well as Richardson has the highest ceiling of any quarterback in recent memory, right? So I think that 100%. They should be all in if a guy gets to 3, which one of them will. And if it's the right guy, go make it happen. Even though there will be a demand at that number 3 spot, we're coming for that number 3 spot. That's right. So, Kwesi, hey, if you want to gamble, let's gamble, man. That's right. Next up, number 2, Kirk Cousins to the Jets for 42. Now, this could be part and parcel with the trade up to 3, because maybe investing all of that capital, it's just like, okay, this guy's going to be the guy, whatever. We're going to throw him to the Wolves. We're going to build a quarterback-friendly offense. We're going to try and get our ish together on defense and go from there. All right, so maybe the Vikings do that, or, of course, they could just hang on to Kirk for another season. But this is what I think the Jets should do. So everything is hanging up on the Packers thinking that they have leverage in this spot, which they don't. The only leverage you have in negotiations is walking away from the table and keeping whatever you're potentially going to trade. And the Packers are not going to keep Rodgers. Like, they're not going to pay him $60 million and also have him and Jordan Love on the roster. So, and also there's not another trade partner out there right now. So they don't have any leverage, but the Jets do. And so the Jets can be like, hey, bring this trade compensation down to a 3rd-round pick, or we're going to explore other options. We're going to look at Lamar. We're going to look at Kirk Cousins. And, I mean, Kirk, for a couple of reasons. Number one, ownership, they wanted Kirk Cousins bad in 2018. Now, it's a different GM, Joe Douglas versus John Idzik, but they wanted Kirk bad. They want him all tattooed. Offspring. Anyways, but yeah, they wanted Kirk bad. They even offered him $6 million more than the Vikings. Now, yes, Kirk has no trade clause, and ultimately Kirk skewed New Jersey adjacent to come here to Minnesota. But if he waived it, and at minimum they're using this as leverage. Also, Kirk would only cost them $10 million on the 2023 cap. Plus, trade compensation would probably be less than Rodgers. So, 42. Who would have knew? Make it happen. Next up, number 3. Trade up to 10 for Will Levis. So the Eagles currently chilling at number 10, and the Vikings make a move there. If Will Levis gets to 10, that's going to be the big part, because if Tennessee does not move up, I doubt that he gets by Tennessee at 11. So the demand at 8, 9, 10 could be pretty high if Will Levis starts to fall. And Levis I like a lot. I do like Richardson and Bryce Young and CJ Stroud a little bit more, but Levis potentially being the quarterback of the future. Yes, he's a bit of a turnover machine, but the arm is there, the cocksure attitude is there, the athleticism there. Work on some mechanics and accuracy, and then go from there. And then it's the whole "Mama, I can change him" bit, right? So go up and get Will Levis if he takes a draft day tumble. Next up, number 4, sticking with quarterback. Za'Darius to the Tennessee Titans, who are in search of pass rush for Malik Willis and a 5th rounder, number 147 overall. So this is the ultimate "Mama, I can change him." So Malik Willis was seen not by the league, but by a lot of draft prognosticators, and not even just the draft Twitter. I'm talking about like the big names. I'm talking about like Mel Kiper Jr. I'm talking about like Todd McShay. They saw Malik Willis as a first-round pick. He fell to the third. Titans took him. He started a fistful of games last year without Derrick Henry, and the Titans offense, well, hell, Titans offense was in disarray because Todd Downing is not a good OC, and he got fired. Also had a DUI, and then behind the scenes, the whole John Robinson, Mike Vrabel power dynamic where Robinson was shown the door. So you have a new GM in Rand Carthon who did not draft Malik Willis. It's sort of whatever about him. So the Vikings could scoop in because Kwesi is all about finding undervalued assets and finding market inefficiencies. And Za'Darius, absent new contract, I doubt he's going to be back on the Vikings next year. And the Vikings, they do have Danielle, who they should extend, by the way. They do have Marcus Davenport, who they should hopefully stays healthy and they can utilize. Patrick Jones second, DJ Wonnum are also on the rooster. So I think Za'Darius is going to be expendable. So shipping him off for Malik Willis and a fifth rounder, where Kevin O'Connell could take a look at Willis. Obviously, Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi had thoughts on Willis during the draft. They didn't take him when they had opportunities, day one, day two. But maybe they're still relatively high on him. Maybe they would have taken him if he would have fell to them later on, day two. And Willis, it's a big jump from Liberty to the NFL. Titans did not do him any favors, so I'm not ready to write him off based on a handful of bad games on a bad offense on a bad team. So they lost like 17 straight to miss the playoffs. So I ain't doing that. But mobility, arm, moxie, upside, I still believe in Malik Willis and the whole mama, I can change him. Next up, trade number 8 for the Minnesota Vikings. Dalvin to the Patriots for a fourth rounder, number 135. Now, all the talk has been the Patriots are in on a running back. Maybe Bijan Robinson, maybe whoever. But even though they have Ramondre Stevenson as well as a solid running back room, they're looking for that guy. And I think that Belichick wants to take it back to when the Patriots were a power running team and played good defense. I think that's exactly what they're trying to do. And Dalvin, even though he's older, he's a solid veteran, good in the locker room, high football IQ, knows his role, knows his job. That's something that Belichick greatly values, and getting him where you can have a couple of decent seasons with Dalvin, even in a part-time role, it would make sense in this spot. It's like when they had Antoine Smith or Corey Dillon back in the day towards the end of their careers, and Belichick made it work with the Patriots offense. Next up, trade number 6 that we'd love to see the Vikings make. Ezra to the Steelers for a third-round pick, number 80 overall. Now, hear me out. Steelers, they're in the market for a starting left tackle, and maybe they go a different direction in the first round. Maybe they miss out on Paris Johnson or whoever they want to tackle in the first round. Ezra has been a left tackle playing left guard, and he's been getting on the field just because they have Darius at left tackle and O'Neal at right tackle. Like, he's not a guard. He just isn't. So getting some value where Ezra gets plays a premium position, is able to get to that premium position and play it for 1 year before he hits free agency, that would be huge. Like all the talk, Orlando Brown Jr. went out of Baltimore because he wanted to play left tackle and get paid. And Ezra, he's been a good soldier about it, where he's been a good teammate. He's inside. He's been doing his damnedest, but he has left tackle skills and needs to be a left tackle. So if the Steelers strike out on their targets in the draft, getting Ezra for a third rounder, even though he's heading into the final year of his rookie deal, would make sense for all parties involved. Lastly, I know, there's 2 more. Number 7. Danielle to the Texans for a second and a third, 33 and 73 overall, respectively. Now, I don't want to do this. I want to extend Danielle forever, right? And the Vikings, they could hit an impasse here where things are up in the air with Za'Darius. Davenport's only on a 1-year deal. Danielle is only 28. Extend him forever, but Danielle's from Katy, Texas, and which is adjacent to Houston, as well as D'Amico Ryans obviously knows from his time with Bosa in San Francisco what it's like to have that premium edge rusher, and getting him in Houston would make sense. And they're probably not going to give up 12 for Danielle, but some premium draft compensation where they have excess because of the Deshaun Watson trade, but getting a second and a third for Danielle at this stage when the Vikings are bereft of a second, and also the fact that both of them are relatively high in the round, could go from there. And the Vikings, maybe they work something out with Za'Darius. Maybe they end up drafting an edge rusher, and it really sucks. But at the end of the day, I think Danielle is the most valuable trade piece currently on the Vikings. That includes Kirk Cousins and Dalvin and Za'Darius. And Kwesi, everything's on the table right now. Next up, trade offer number 8. DJ Wonnum to the Broncos for a 5th rounder. So I think DJ is going to get squeezed out where whatever happens with the edge rusher room, whether Danielle's back, whether Za'Darius is back, Davenport's going to be there. Patrick Jones second, I think, is going to take a huge leap in year 3. And Wonnum has gotten opportunities. He's been good in spurts, but he hasn't been the guy. And the Broncos, jumping George Payton was assistant to the regional general manager when they drafted DJ Wonnum. And they haven't really replaced Bradley Chubb. Now, they could certainly find an edge rusher in the draft, and they do have Randy Gregory and Baron Browning. They shifted to the edge, as well as Nick Bonito, who's a guy that I love, formerly of Oklahoma. But getting Wonnum in Denver could make some sense as a stand-up rush outside linebacker for Vic Fangio and company. Lastly, one more bonus one. Number 9, just straight up trading down from 23. All right, so I understand the trading down is not really popular, but the Vikings only have 5 draft picks, no second-round pick, and if the board is flat, or if the guys that you really want, or Kwesi really wants, aren't there, it would make sense. And Kwesi did this last year, trading down from 34 to the Packers for 2 second-round picks, so maybe he could do something again. And it's even more valuable since it's 23 versus 34. And teams that have 2 second-round picks this year, Pittsburgh, Seattle, the Jets, the Lions, and the Bears. And Kwesi, of course, ain't scared about doing business in division. So it's something to look at, where if the Vikings rank several players about the same and there's no real differentiation and someone really wants to come up and the Vikings can get some nice, it would make sense in that regard. And Kwesi, of course, is not scared about making some moves up and down the draft board. But that's it. 9 trades for the Vikings. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.